I'm not going to start with my chubby cheeks this time. Nope, this time I'm going to start with the bike. Ooh. So you can see exactly what it is. Ducati Scrambler! Yay! 803 cc's! Yay! Steel trellis frame! Woo! One driver mode. Go! You turn the key, it starts, you ride off. Can't say fairer than that. Engine, already mentioned, 803 cc's. Pure Ducati power. It's got 75 brake horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque claimed, although I have seen a dyno chart where it says 68 horsepower and 45 foot-pounds of torque. But there we go, it's close enough. Lots and lots of torque, obviously. It is a twin. It is an L twin, not a V twin. Slightly different angle, I think, more than anything else. Apparently a direct port from the Ducati Monster 796, which I haven't ridden, but I have ridden a lot of Ducati Monsters. That's a lie, I've ridden two. But the original was my dad's old 750, I think. And this one actually shares a lot of similarities. That's really what I was expecting it to be like, and I have to say it hasn't disappointed. I've only ridden down the road, but it's close enough. The other one I've ridden, obviously, is the Ducati Monster S2R, which I have also reviewed, but it's very different to that. Almost solely because of size, it's just a bit smaller. Air cooled, not much of a problem, it will get warm obviously, but it does cut down on weight. Suspension, pretty basic, does the job. You've got a single shock on the back there, and that is only adjustable for preload, as you all know. Front suspension, plenty of travel, inverted forks, no adjustability. Should also point out at the start maybe, but I'll do it now, that this is the classic version. Slightly more expensive. The Icon, 7,400 thereabouts, is just under, for the sake of pennies. But this one's just about £8,000 I believe for the classic, and you get spoke wheels, and you get a different seat. But there's not a lot of difference. Come in yellow and red for the Icon, if you are going for the base model. Not a huge fan of the colours, but they are at least in keeping with the heritage of the old Scrambler. Let's have a little look at the clock. Ooh, nice. It doesn't do a lot. Took me a while to get used to the Rev Gage, which is on the bottom there. Once you get used to it, it's fine, but I was looking for my revs just to see where I was at, because I know it pulls best up to 9,000, and then obviously it doesn't do much more after that. So I was looking for that, but that's on the bottom, so you can just about make out the numbers. Speedo there, obviously. Tell me my side stands down. Doesn't really need that, but there it is. 72 miles, got a clock. All you need, really. Nothing else needed for a clock. And switch gear, very basic. You can see there we have kill switch, ignition, throttle, mirror, rubber cables, mirror, indicators, whoop, horn, and lights. What more do you need from a bike? Nothing. You don't need nothing more. Not a single thing. And there we go. Lovely little LED backlight and Ducati logo. Mud spatter. Not from me. Not yet, anyway. Right, let's have this start up for us. Before I piss off whoever I parked around too much, I'll turn it off and then get going. It sounds nice. I've missed V-twins. There is nothing, in my humble opinion, that sounds better on a bike than a good V-twin. Well, a twin, a good twin. Woo! Feel the torque, baby, feel the torque. Probably can't see much of the bike. It's a bit of a cliff face over the front. Whoop! Bit of a sheer drop. Actually, to be fair, it does lean out quite far from you when you're sitting in the seat. Seat pushes you forward a little bit. Should probably indicate, but I'm not gonna. Just gonna go for it. So you can see there on the clock, right, let's talk about that to begin with. The revs spins around at the bottom of the dial, which took me a while to get used to, but you can see it. It's the only thing that's different is it's like a weird gauge. It spins around, but it's in black as well, so it's not the most obvious thing to see. You can sort of see it. I don't know whether it flashes up when you're high in the revs to say change. It's unlikely to when I'm following a Thompson's of Cruise Hill Limited. It's cute though. I like what I'm looking at down there. It's just a clock, some rubber cables with a bit of flex in them to make it look older, a little bit more classic, a little bit rawer. Rawer, you know that word? More raw. A little bit like a push bike, you know? Oh, it's fun that. Now, as far as the handlebars go, they're weird. They're really weird. They're wide, so you've got more leverage over them, which is good. They're really tall, so you can sit nice and upright. But if I'm honest, and this is my bike, I reckon I'd change those for some lower bars. Because it just feels a bit strange. I know you get used to it, and I know it's comfortable. I just don't think, when I'm looking at the bike from the front at least, they look a little distended, out on a limb, flimsy. I'd want them to look a little bit fatter, lower. The width is good, but I'd have them lower. Make it a bit more like a cafe. And I know it would possibly ruin in fact it would ruin the scrambling capabilities, but then it's not a scrambler, is it? I mean, it's called a scrambler, but it isn't actually a scrambler bike. No one's taking this thing on that old dusty trail. Oh, hey, there we go. Hey, jumps well. Now this is actually heavier than my Hornet, allegedly, but that would be dry, I think. 186 kilograms dry. So it isn't actually stupidly light. It is light, but it's not stupidly light. But it feels really light, and it feels a hell of a lot more nimble than mine, but that could be because the suspension is firmer and stiffer. Could be. And it's not a wallowy, saggy-arsed Honda. Am I in Elstree? I'm in Elstree. Well, that's ridiculous. Don't want to be in Elstree. Whilst I'm sat in traffic, I might as well tell you. But the weight is almost perfect. Really well balanced. It's very centralised. It's not too much towards the front, or the back, or the top or the bottom. So it doesn't feel like it's... I don't know, it doesn't feel like you have to force it down into a corner, but it also doesn't feel like it drops too quickly into a corner because the weight's up high. So you can be precise with it, and again that plays to this whole feeling of being light. Well done, Ducati. Very well played. Oh, actually, as well on that sort of height point, 790 millimeters with the standard seat. I think you can change seats. 790 millimeters. Is it roundabout? Is it roundabout? I'm going to do a full-on U-turn. Do not knock me off. Yeah, you. I knew that I'd trip someone up. So back on point, not to distract myself, 790 millimeters is the same as my Hornet. And it feels that actually. I can easily flat foot. I am 5'11", maybe I'm 5'10" today. Today I'm 5'10". But I can flat foot this thing easily, as you'd expect. So I shouldn't imagine anyone would have any problems with this, even if you're not that tall. If you are tall, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too short for you actually. I don't know if you're 6'5". Might feel a bit like you're on a monkey bike. Yeah, that's what I figured. It does climb up the revs to 9,000. as far as horsepower goes. The horsepower climbs up as you get up to 9,000 revs. That is true. So there is a point to hanging on to the revs, obviously, even up to 9. But the torque band starts instantly and then sort of trails off after a while. Quicker at least than the horsepower does. So there isn't much point hanging on to the throttle. You can, but there's not an awful lot of point. It's a V-twin. It's giddy. It's get up and go. It wants to shoot off. It's like a little happy puppy on a leash. You say we're going walkies and it goes walkies, walkies. it races off. There we are, little puppy. Well done. But the other thing, which is a massive improvement over very old Ducatis, it's not, well, not even that old really, 2000s and 90s. The improvement over those for the engine is that it's smooth. I mean, it's got that get up and go, and it's got that giddy eagerness to please. But the throttle response on this is smooth as you like. The difference then, I mean, if you know all the engines, and I haven't ridden all of them. I've ridden a twin, I've ridden a triple, and a 4-cylinder. I've never ridden transverse V-twin. I've never ridden the boxers. So, what can I say on those behalves? But as far as the 3 that I'm familiar with, I haven't ridden a single either actually. Oh, I love that. The twin is the most instantly pleasing and gratifying. I've got to get into your lane, mate, which means I get to see you again. Oh yes. Oh, don't leave me. Bye. I want to be your friend. The twins then are the most instantly gratifying over 4-cylinders. 4-cylinders you have to work a little bit harder to get more out of them. And again, it depends where you're riding. But for a town, for what this is made for really, which is to commute and to look good while it does it, definitely fulfills that. Now I commute sometimes up to North Wales from London, and let me tell you that I will not be buying this bike based solely on that. And whilst if I was in North Wales on this bike, I'd have the best time, and whilst I'm in London on this bike, I'll have the best time. The bit in between, unless I was planning on doing a 4-day trip and taking nothing but twisty B roads, would be arduous. Let's use the term arduous. So nimble, so light, responsive. My tyres do feel a bit soft actually while I'm doing this. I hope nobody sees me. Well, nobody important. What are you doing? Is your bike broke? Are you drunk? I'm not drunk. I'm warming the sides up. Brakes. Brakes. I think that's pretty much the only thing I haven't spoken about thus far. The brakes are spongy because of these rubber cables, so you get braided ones, but you lack a bit of the character then, and you don't need to. So why would you bother? They're not underpowered. It's that single disc, obviously. So you think, you know, is it alright, well that's just illegal. You're all knobheads. So yeah, they're not underpowered. Single disc. So you think, is it going to be good enough? It's 330mm, so it's a big single disc. On mine it's dual 290, but when you've got 330mm, there's plenty of surface to scrub on, and you've got 4 pistons on the front, so they're fine, really fine. And the bike's not heavy enough for that to be a problem. The rear, I think, is a single cylinder, and it's 245mm, and it's fine, but then most of your braking comes from the front, so you can get away with that on the back, can't you? It's a big disc as well, so it's not a problem. Everything about it is really good, and it's exactly what you would expect. If you've seen a review of this thing before, or even just looked at the picture and you think you get an idea of what this thing is like, you are correct. You're correct. I don't think you'll ever have made an erroneous assumption about this thing if you have any idea what you're getting into. The only thing it comes down to in the end then with this thing, for whether or not you want to buy one, is do you like the style of riding that this promotes, and do you think it looks good? Would you be proud to own this? Oh, we're back. Hello, neighbours. And there goes that noise again. Ooh, yeah. It's such a nice noise. Off. Can we see it? Can we see it? I assume we can. I've got it on fisheye again. So, last impressions before I take all this stuff off and take it back and say, oh, I love it. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. It's so pleasing. I likened it to a puppy, and I would stand by that. It really is like a puppy. The Monster, the S2R that I ride and occasionally get to play on, that is big and muscular, and it's satisfying in a different way. It's instantly gratifying. You're going around some roads and you can just feel like a bit of a hero. This thing feels so playful. My dad's got an Enduro, an old Suzuki Sierra 185, and this is close to that for the fun and the feeling of being on something quite small on a big open road around big, heavy, dangerous cars, and you just don't feel you feel a bit cheeky being there. Not like you don't belong, but a bit cheeky. And this feels cheeky. It's cheeky. That's the character. It's really nice. Very, very good. Do you know what I think this thing does best? And possibly best out of all of the bikes. The Bonneville does it really well, and the Street Twin, obviously, like I say, does it as well. They attract new riders. They inject new life into biking. And I think a lot of people will be getting themselves into biking, passing their test, solely for the prospect of riding either a Scrambler or one of the Triumph range, and some of the Yamaha range. But considering I've seen lots and lots of hipsters in London riding these sorts of things, it's clearly working. Clearly working. If you have beard, will ride, get one of these. I'll tell you another tiny little bugbear of mine, and I know they did this and people like it, right? I hate this twisty little fiddly looking exhaust pipe. I hate it. Blech. It just looks like someone's doodled it. It's like someone was playing Snake on an old Nokia 3210 and they've just taken a screen grab at that. I'll have that on my exhaust. Job done. Oh, and the sun's come out to wish me a fun ride home. Goodbye, y'all. Fiddly, fiddly. Scrapey, scrapey noise. Microphone off. Yeah, there you bastard.